All righty, away we go. It is Friday. What date is it? September 18th of 2020. I better know that date. It's my wife's birthday this weekend. And this is the TRC sales training call, which I'm always excited to do. Ready to rock and roll here with everybody. So having said that, let's get started. I just want to give a shout out to all you mastermind members. Boy, that was the most fun I've had in a long time, coaching and guiding and being part of the mastermind group. The body of work that y'all did on Wednesday night and continued into yesterday. It's the hard work that everybody else benefits from, and bravo. Couldn't be prouder of a bunch of people just hanging in there trying to become better managers of what you do, and you just did a great job at that. By the way, let me take you off of these headphones, and so because we're going to have to listen to recordings here, so let me just make sure. Can somebody say hello to me, Alan or Gail, so I make sure I got off of those headphones? All right, there we go. Look at Eli in the hot seat. Let me see. Here we go. Okay, there we go. I just had to get that right. All right. Yeah, there's your man Eli, Gail, huh? Coming in hot. Guy's a glutton for punishment, Desi, etc. All right. All right. So who has sent me something here today for analysis? Let's go into Gmail and see.
Danny, we were going to talk real quick too about what your thought was as far as having Heather call FSBOs.
Yep. Yeah, let me reiterate from a strategic standpoint. The first thing I'll repeat that I said to Chris before was that number one is, in our case, when we bring in a new telemarketer, is to make sure that they're adept at doing the expireds. The next thing, though, is, however, if they are on top of all of that, and it is being done systematically, and the follow-up subsequently where they have created a prospect is being done first, then as a backup plan, we could take a look at the for sale by owners. However, the for sale by owners, like I told Chris, always come with, the caveat that they really don't want to do business with you, right? It's really important to understand that. They really don't want to do business with you for some reason. One is a misperception that they can't afford you because their math is tight. Two, they don't see the value in you. So there are a lot of reasons why we would go to an expired or even a probate first before we would go to a for sale by owner. Having said that, for those of you that want added, it's a pretty, no-brainer to make sure that we do indeed have a formulaic approach to that. Okay, so let me deal with that. So Chris, did you want to comment on the strategic part of it first, or you just want me to go into the training part of it?
I guess both. We haven't done it before, Danny.
Okay. All right, good. All right, good. Well, like I said, you heard me on the strategic part. The key is you're not sacrificing the expireds first. That's a priority. Make sure that they get done and they get done succinctly. It's not, again, Chris, my fear is, and it happened with Autumn, where at one point in time during COVID, I wasn't looking at managing the system. So I wasn't looking at why these things weren't showing up regularly. And we had some tagging issues and we had some database issues, right? That was the problem. It wasn't a lead gen problem. It was a systematic training problem, meaning she didn't understand fully how prospects were showing up at the time. And I just dumped a bunch of probates in. Well, to this day, she's still cleaning up that mess, right? So, and it's an issue because they're nowhere near as good as the expired calls, and she's never been really trained by me on probates. And that takes a whole different mindset, right? So now having said that, FSBOs are easier, Chris, because the step from going from an expired to a FSBO is easier because it's very similar. So we don't have to add that extra layer of, hey, I noticed, you're the administrator of such and such an estate, and I wanted to send you some information that would help you get through the probate process. That really has nothing to do with real estate the way that we approached it, right? Whereas the for sale by owner, it's much easier to come right through the door with the package of information, right? So if you look at it that way, Chris, all you're changing is context, right? So the context is such that The goods are the goods are the goods, meaning ultimately, if I cut through that first layer of cake on the probate successfully, and I give them that timeline and the glossary of terms, and they find that helpful, and that opens up the conversation for real estate, I'm now right down to the layer where I'm the same with FSBO, probate, and expired. I'm now into the value of the package because I'm back to real estate. And I think that's important to discuss so people understand the idea of us being unique is getting them the package of information. And I can't emphasize that enough to everybody here in this training session, is that when you are getting a package out the door, it's universally setting you up to go to a house. Today, we're off to Boston here right after the call. I'm taking Autumn with me so she can experience the whole thing, and she can see what it's like to go do one of these on the fly. And the most important thing is the package, right? So I have the package in my bag. It's always about the package, okay? Now, this is not the mailed version. This is the one that we will go into the house. So we're sitting here live with this package. We have the exterior, good-looking, marketable stuff. On the inside, you'll see what's in the folder is my stuff in a manila folder, which is going to have my stuff. But again, everything that we preach, we practice. We have a market update so that we can seem savvy about the property. By the way, that's a faux pas. That says Cape Cod, not Boston.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yep. Then we have the 7-point listing presentation, and then we have a 3-point marketing deep dive in there. So we have that. And most importantly, we have the analysis, because this is my insight. So when I go into this house, this is my insight. I am going to talk about that. So what sets me up is the deeper dive into this. So the magazine, so sending out the full-blown plan before we get there is what you're going to do to a FSBO or an expired. So the core package, if I get in the house, is the same. This doesn't change for a for sale by owner or an expired or a probate. Once there's real estate, there's real estate. Okay? Chris, you with me so far?
I'm tracking you, Danny.
Okay. All right, questions? No, that's Chris Clever. Questions? Thoughts?
What do you envision as the whole conversation that we have?
Okay, I don't envision it. It's right here in front of me. So I want you to go to the Teachable site. I want you to open up the script because it's there. Now it needs some cleaning up and some work, which is what I told you I would do here, right? So when you, oops, you gotta mute your,
Okay, so I need
Mute?
to mute. Sorry.
it's okay, no, just mute. There's a mute button on
It's
there?
muted. It's not working. Oh, okay.
Okay, so there you go. So, sorry, she's sitting right next to me, just getting some feedback. So the idea here is when we go through this, the intro is going to be the same, and all we're going to change is the context, right? Chris, this is Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. Same tone, authority, right? I'm calling you because same thing, okay? We have to get through that. All this pausing, all this weird pausing that I hear on all these calls is just weird. Like, what are you doing? I mean, there's nothing that smacks grotesque telemarketing than Chris.
Yes.
Nothing.
Inflect down.
Nothing. It's just the worst, right? So when you come into the FSBO, it's the same thing. Chris, this is Danny Griffin calling from Griffin Realty Group. The reason I'm calling is because I saw that you're selling your house by yourself. So I'd like to send you something that will help you sell it. May I do that? Period. It actually becomes even less words than the expired. So it becomes the simplest one that we do. Okay? Now, of course, we don't know, like I said, this is even going a notch higher on the I don't want you meter, right? You're interrupting me meter. We're going up because FSBOs typically are doing it because they didn't see the value in the agent. So she's going to have to be ready for that whole thing, right? If he says yes, great. Wonderful. May I confirm that the mailing address is the property that you're selling? Should I send it there? Because a lot of times FSBOs have moved or it's an investment property, whatever the case would be. And the same thing, if they challenge you, well, what are you sending me? Let's just say they went there. Well, I'm going to mail you a list of the properties with pictures and details that recently sold in your neighborhood. the ones that are in your price range that you're trying to sell in now. So you can see what the money was buying and what the buyers are saying yes to. And I'm going to give you a free copy of my 7-step listing plan. And now this is where we get to that next, piece of it, where it becomes this more intuitive conversational thing, right? So what Carla is on, I got you, Sonia. So the next thing is, as you look at this, the idea is, looks like a nice property. How's it going so far? It's just conversational. It's genuine. So, but they've finished that beat. Wonderful. I'll get that in the mail to you and I'll send it. Looks like a good property. How's it going so far? You're empathetic almost. Here's somebody that's trying to play realtor. And so you just want to be helpful to them. Okay. So that's the whole idea, is that once they get there. Now, where we left off is, going for the appointment is the next piece of it. Hey, it sounds like a pretty good property. And again, I think one of the things that's missing here is what we've discovered way back here. So I'm going to go back to this script up here and copy some stuff. Looks like a beautiful property. Why are you trying to sell it? I mean, you could go right back to that instead. And I would probably suggest we split test a couple of things, but I'd probably go back right to what's been working up at the top. Make sense?
Are you meaning to share your screen, Danny?
Nope. I'm not on that today. Yeah. No, I'm just reading it myself. So I'm looking at, Chris, open it up. You have it. You have the mind map, and the expired piece of it is the most fully developed. So what I'll probably do today is I'll do some edits to this, Chris. So, it's this whole concept of, let me see, hang on, bear with me. I'm going to cut and paste it myself and then read from it. I want to put it in with the rest. Is Heather on, by the way?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Yep.
Let me know what you're
I
thinking.
have 2 points about FSBOs that I'd like to bring up, that
Go ahead.
2 angles that I would use in the past when I was selling.
Go ahead.
One is, they like to always say, if you have a buyer, bring them. So I request to be able to at least see the property so I could convey if it was a good property for my buyer.
Yep.
The next step is that,
Okay, but hold on. That's a very common objection. Do you have a buyer? But we didn't even get set up that way. Follow me? So right from the very get-go, that's the old stuff that everybody else is doing. Okay? So you just got set up differently. So tell me how and why you brought that up as it relates to what we do.
I'm just bringing up points that was my experience,
Yep.
ways that I would get my foot in the door, per se.
Okay.
And usually once you're in front of somebody, then you can
I understand.
convert them.
Well, not always. Not always. I want to give you something more foolproof, because that's not always true. So,
Okay,
and I don't
my
want,
second thing was,
yeah, hold on. And I don't want him running out to FSBOs where he doesn't have a real shot. It's a waste of time,
no, I agree.
right?
I'm just throwing it out there maybe to work it in the conversation or just food for thought.
Yep.
The other thing is that FSBOs can't properly qualify buyers. Like, typically the agent's the one that has the pre-qualification. So, I mean, even for their safety, if FSBO's safety,
Again,
they want to make sure that
I
hear,
hear you. It's definitely part of the process. Okay. There's no doubt about it. But you're taking it and you're pulling it out and you're making it a scare tactic. And it's almost you can't really qualify. Well, sure you can. You can just say, go like, are you pre-qualified with a bank? Right? So we don't want to back ourselves into a corner of not being that valuable. See, what makes us valuable is having them understand the entirety of the process and where they could be vulnerable. But to have it come across as a scare or a bully technique is exactly what it's sort of this old cold calling mentality that if you keep talking to them, they're eventually going to convert. That's not true. That's not true. In fact, I know a lot of people that try to do that fail miserably. And that's why they stop doing this, right? They stop going after FSBOs. They stop going after expireds because the way they've been taught is to do it on muscle. Keep them talking. Neuro-linguistic programming. I don't like that for myself. I don't like that for my telemarketer and you. It gets very, and you're tough, I get it, but it gets very tired very quickly. What you want to do is be a good steward of information. I believe this is my philosophy, and that's why it's working on the expired side. Okay. We are going into Boston today, where we're going in and we're looking at expired listing that was listed by somebody pretty sharp. Okay. But the problem in Boston is everybody's gotten away with being able to put any price on it and get it. And he got lazy. And so we're going in there today to help this person genuinely understand the market has changed. You need a strategy. We need to know what happened to you. And if we do nothing else other than spread, good cheer about a formula and whatnot, we've increased the brand downtown. Okay. And that's my minimum goal. I am not only interested in keeping them talking or, if I can convert them, great. But he doesn't know me from Adam. So my expectations are I will go in and be helpful and I will draw him in closer to us. Okay. So what I want on the telemarketing side is I want as many of these people that are a good avatar, meaning they will listen to you in Autumn. They will appreciate it. They will accept the package. They will let it arrive. And then they will allow you in. So if we can find a methodology with every type of outside seller, FSBO, probate, expired, to name a few, internet, I want it to be based on a core. Otherwise, you're basing it on a technique. Well, I found that if I told them, like, what if you don't have a real buyer for their house? Now what? What's your methodology if you called 15 FSBOs and you had a buyer at $350,000 in Lake Norman? And you could say, hey, Chris does have this person he's working with. Do you mind if he comes by and takes a look at the house, see if it's a match? That's a legitimate conversation. But now you tell me, what do you do with the others? What's your value?
No, I wasn't saying that I would tell them I actually had a buyer.
Yep.
I was asking to view the property
Yep.
in case I have someone come along so I can convey what that property specifically looks like inside or compared to the other houses in the neighborhood.
Okay, good. I get it. But let me tell you why I think that's bad training. Okay. That when people train that. Here's why. The way to grow a business here is by being efficient and doing business in the highest probability ways to get listings. Okay. To say that I want to go and take a look at an off-market property, which takes me time. I got to get in my car. I got to go take a look at it. I got to see what it looks like. Then I have to come back and do what? Match it with whom? A buyer. Well, where am I getting the buyers for that house? I would be better trying to attract a buyer in its generality, a seller in its generality, and then try to make a market for those people. See, I could never be better than the multiple listing service. That's the marketplace. I can turn on my computer, my phone, whatever, and I can find out everything that's for sale once I have the buyer and I know their criteria. And when I have the listing, I can take that one listing and enter it into the MLS and begin to attract all those people. Now, I become solely responsible in that way. But to have the agent run down the house with sort of a bait and switch, because what the implication is, well, if you go down there under the premise that you would like to know what's off market, so you might be able to magically match it with a buyer, are you legitimately walking in and doing that and walking out? No, you're not. You're trying to convert them to a listing, aren't you? Yes? Yes. Yes. It's a yes. It's a yes. The primary reason for going to that FSBO was to get the listing, not to try to match up a buyer. Unless, of course, the exception to the rule is you truly have a buyer who truly is looking at in that area. You're calling all the canceled, withdrawns, expireds, and FSBOs in that area because they're hot to trot. They said, I want this neighborhood. Otherwise,
I had that experience as well. So that's why
exactly. But as a formulaic approach to getting listings from FSBOs, expireds, probates, etc., you must be legitimately about helping the seller first. And that methodology, my dear, in my not so humble opinion, is not legitimate unless you have a buyer. And if it is legitimate, it's a colossal waste of time to do business like that. Because you're going down, you could go to a whole bunch of houses, randomly walk in, have no control over the listing, and hope that you find a buyer and match them up with that one house. It just doesn't make any sense. To me, none. Zero. I would never do that. I want to be the most efficient listing agent that I can be. And then I want to attract the buyers through that listing product so that at time to time, I can double end a listing or I can get a really good buyer off of that listing and then go to the MLS and match them. And then only if I can't find something through MLS am I going to go off market. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Okay. So I think it becomes extremely important that you see the FSBOs in the same way I'm teaching you to see the expireds. If you do not, and you're in a company there where there's too many different opinions, if you ask me, and I've told Chris, I only want this one, the one that I'm teaching, because it's the only one I can protect you on. Here we go again. We're walking into a $900,000 house this afternoon in Boston. And the reason is because we're helpful first. Period, right? Am I wrong?
Exactly.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Okay. So
I helped him for 15 minutes before we got down to
Yeah.
business.
you hear what she said? She spent 15 minutes just helping the guy before they got down
To
to,
business.
can we come see you?
Yeah,
Right? And
Yeah.
when we go see him today, it is legitimately going to be about, we are here to legitimately figure out what the heck happened with this property.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, how did Autumn help him?
He was getting inundated with calls from agents, and he put me off almost immediately. He's like, no, I'm not doing anything. And then I don't know if he just liked the tone of my voice or what happened, but then he says, my God, I'm getting inundated. How are you guys getting my cell number? So I was able to talk to him about services, i.e. Vulcan, without directing him there. I also, as an added bonus, told him about Fast People Search and how that was basically a directory for cell phone numbers. And I explained to him how he can be removed from Fast People Search. Next thing you know, we're having a full-blown conversation, and he wants everything I've got, and then he wants to meet me. And he wants to talk because he's totally flummoxed as to why his house did not sell. It should have sold.
He's frustrated. He felt he was underserved.
He was very underserved, period.
So we're going to go and have a therapy session.
Right.
And we're going to drive
Very
all the way to
nice
Boston
man.
just for a therapy session. I mean, I'm serious. I'm not kidding. And I'm excited about it because this is a marketplace and that's why she's coming, because we want to see the product together. We're bringing my brother we're all going in together so that the team that has to go attack this place,
Right.
we feel connected together.
Right.
So if we get nothing out of this more so than this is an exercise to drive up there, get my brother, get everybody feeling and connected, Gail, that's what it's about. Right.
And perhaps get a referral because I've got relationship with him.
Yeah. And again, the idea would be, of course, we'd love the listing if he's ready to relist. And we just want a fair chance to help him by doing so, then subsequently compete, because that's the differentiation. You heard what she said. Everybody was calling him.
Overwhelmed.
He's overwhelmed with calls.
I'm the one he took.
But the only person that he took
Was me.
was somebody who helped him. Like, it's just not rocket science. And that's what I was just saying to Heather. So in the past, and I know what she's saying, she's giving me in the past, stop the past. If you bring me your garbage from the past, I'm going to take it and burn it in the fire. Okay? Because it is the wrong way to do things over the long run. You can muscle your way in this business to success, but it gets tired.
Well, that's why I brought it up to get
Yeah.
your thoughts.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, obviously I have some strong ones about it, right? So, but that's the point. I don't ever want you to default to that agent brain that you got trained, because most agents are, trained incorrectly like this. And it's weird for me to say that because there are people that are successfully getting in houses by muscling and bullying their way in, right? But that's not the best business. You don't end up leaving somebody very satisfied at the end. If you're always telling them what to do, and then they're just exasperated and they're surrendering, you're not really getting that connection that you want, where they're most likely to repeat and refer. You might, but there's a better way. I'm always after the better way. I can be as aggressive as anybody, right? But I don't want to do that because I know it doesn't bring the best result. It doesn't. When you empower people to make a decision around a planned approach and they understand it suddenly. There are a lot of really sharp people that go to sell their house. They don't know the first thing about how this really works. We're going to find that today.
Well, because their realtor keeps them in the dark.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Or the realtor doesn't know.
The
Even top
realtor's not
producers don't
serving.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not serving him and has no idea what to do, so he can't share anything with the client.
Cool. All right, let's move on. So, Heather, the idea would be to identically follow, and I will work on this script a little bit because I want it, Chris, to follow. I wanted to follow exactly what we do here with the expireds. Okay, so I'm going to clean up this mind map, and
And the pitch works because you heard it work yesterday
yeah,
with Alan Davis,
Yep.
who we're going to have an appointment with also.
Yeah,
Hey, Autumn, are you calling for FISBOs right now?
no, she is
No.
not. No.
I did have a FISBO call me back yesterday, though. I called her a long time ago. I don't know why she's calling. She did call me back. I haven't gotten back to her yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't really want her doing that yet, Chris. Again, I'm just going to repeat that I think what Autumn and I are doing really well together right now is I'm managing her better. We had a good meeting yesterday.
Yeah.
We sat down. We were able to, talk about Infusionsoft and simplify her understanding of that. We're going to get with Kelsey to try to simplify the number of clicks she makes. But she learned something yesterday,
Yeah.
which was on me about process. Right? She didn't quite understand database segmentation.
Right.
And so what we know is that as she gets better at database segmentation and just simply filling out forms correctly, then her prospect list is growing because she gets a lot of people to say yes. But she needs a lot of that follow-up. So what happens is that prospect list grows, and I'm talking, Chris, the first part of the prospect list. I want her on those people. I don't want her on people until like FISBOs or even probates. I don't really want her on those because they don't get me the type of avatar I want.
Right.
A probate can
Well,
end
they
up,
won't listen.
yeah.
either.
Well, a probate can end up being somebody that's in a different spot where I don't have geography and I don't have the average price I want. The FISBO is not listening to begin with.
Yeah.
They think they can do it on their
They can
own.
do it
That's a
on their
problem
own.
for me.
They
So,
argue.
like, you'd have to give me really good reasons why you would have Heather going after them. And it could be because Lake Norman is skinny for expireds. I'll buy in if that's truly the case. But over time, the thing I'm going to test the two of you on is, okay, you two, show me your database management system that shows me the long-term follow-up. And I know you're weak there, right? I know, because I know everybody is. So until you are really seeing your expired prospect list growing and that you're on top of it and you're not losing them, you don't add things, in my opinion, right? So FISBOs are, it's easy enough for you in a busy market like that. Take a crack at it, though. But I'm just going to tell you right now what you're going to be up against: a discounted commission mentality. So you're going to have to get really, 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 really good, which is fine. It's a good test to see how good you are at articulating your value to a FISBO. See, the expired has already said, sure, I'm going to try a realtor. Sure, I get it.
Right.
I'm a little bit exasperated. So there's not this big fight about commission necessarily with an expired. Some there are, some there aren't. Don't get me wrong.
Well, this guy already mentioned 4%.
Yeah. Well, but this is the city, so it's different. And all he knows until he meets us is that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's all he knows, right? So, all right, Chris, did that help?
Thanks, Danny.
Yeah, did that help? I mean, I'm going to give you, I'd do a better job for you in getting you the, I'm saving this, I'm sort of cutting and pasting while I talk, but I still like all the, the stuff we've come up with at the expired stuff. Looks like a beautiful, I'd go right back to that actually. Looks like a beautiful property. Why are you trying to sell it? Right? Let them answer on a scale of 1 to 10. If they own it, do they have somewhere to go? Because FISBOs could be, that. So I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, let's just stay with this first, right?
Okay. Just a quick question. That one that you're going on today is 4%. Would you take that at 4?
Yes, 100%, 100%. Absolutely, yes. Because in Boston, I'm more likely to get people, co-brokes, to still show it at that because there's a lot of downward pressure on commission there. I'm trying to break into Boston, so every victory works. But I'll guarantee you I'll be looking for a quid pro quo when I get there. If it's going to be that, then I'm going to get a sharp price.
What price range are you talking as well?
849.
Yeah,
was what he
849.
expired, but he started at 9. They had him way up there at like 949, and they had to come down, and he was very frustrated.
Lauren has those.
You co-op 2 and keep
Lauren
2 on that?
has those.
Hey, I'm sorry.
She has a whole bunch of them. Call her. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
Dude, you
absolutely.
co-op 2 and keep 2?
Yeah. And so again, going into luxury, that's where, well, this is a good question for all of the mastermind members, from the model standpoint. Am I to the right side of my model? In other words, when I build my model to hit my financial goal, not transactional, money, but per transaction, I know that goal. Well, I know that at 2 apples on 849, I'm there, Chris.
I have a question.
because it's 1577, like 15777. Like, see, it's in my head, that crooked number, right?
Mhm.
So at 2, I'm there. I'm right there. I'm almost right on my average. That's the average commission too. It's not the median. So I know I'm to the good. Plus the benefit of being able to, get a downtown Boston listing and sale when things are starting to collapse up there. This is what we've been waiting for, right?
Can I ask a quick question here? So it seems to me that the realtor he was working with just lowered the price. I think they lowered it like 3 times, knocked $100,000 off it. It seems to me that rather than talk to the man, the agent just kept knocking the price down to get some action. But in reality, it could very easily be that there was no correct marketing done. Is that correct? In other
No.
words, you can't just
No.
like keep knocking the price down. If you have good
No,
marketing.
I'd be careful of that.
Okay.
No.
I'm just that's my
Yeah.
question.
Hey,
Is,
what is this?
is that the remedy? I mean, yes, you can get business stirred up. What are
Excuse
you
me,
looking
before I
for?
forget, check that package. We have a different package over there. Let's make sure we don't walk out with it right there. The black package, please.
That one?
Yep.
Well, if you read the 7-point strategic plan and the pricing on the first sentence, it talks about that pricing should be talked about and not marketing first. And so,
Okay.
and so if you read that again, Autumn,
Yeah.
and again, you'll realize that it's not that. Because once it's on the multiple listing service and they've done the pictures and all of that,
Right.
it's out there in the ether. It's everywhere.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I just wanted my case study here because it's a really good subject here, okay? So
Yeah.
what's very tricky about this now is where they ended up, they should have gotten some action.
Yeah, that's what I
I'm
thought.
going to tell you right now, they should have gotten
Like
some
water
action.
low?
But hold on. And because the assessed value is looks like
10,000 below.
it's 862. So
Oh, he's below assessed now.
I don't think he ended up at 849.
I think he did. Or I think he did.
Yeah, he
went
did.
down.
You're right.
See?
So he's now
So he's
below assessed.
Yeah.
So
he's
this is what's
frustrated.
going to show you, but this is going to show you. Here's the tough conversation, Gail. That market's tanking up there fast.
Oh shoot.
It's fast. It's tanking fast,
Yeah.
right? So
When you overprice, you have to follow the market down.
yeah,
And when you follow that down, it's sometimes a landslide.
yeah,
Okay.
and we have more of a permanent shift in these major cities.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
what's happening is you can hear it on CNBC. Kramer's talking about it every day. We don't think that this will ever go back to the old business model. Meaning what? We don't think that we, being a lot of people, don't think that the cities will have to be where you live to go to the nice commercial space where you worked once. Okay. So that New York City is getting hardest hit. You can see it in LA. You can see it in Boston. And you can see it if you work in the suburbs that people are coming. In fact, somebody just said they gave, I don't know who said that. They gave a guy a credit card and said, here, here's 25 grand preloaded. Set up your office at home.
So I don't.
Right?
I don't.
There's a
get
guy in Provincetown that's coming down with $5 million. I called my client who didn't sell before, and they're like, yeah, but we're not at this 2.5. We're at 3.3. I said, yep, I got you. So this push is now happening. So Boston's going to have a little bit of a vortex. Where will it stop? We don't know, but it hasn't even started. So this presentation today is a presentation in the start of a correction in a prime high-end market. But what you'll see, as I was explaining to Autumn, it gets very hyper local. Okay. It's sort of the flight to the gold standard. If you were to look at a Google map of and this is a very sales oriented conversation, you must understand the hyper local market trends when you are selling anything in real estate. And the inventory, because I just did my market update yesterday, I was late this month. The inventory in Boston was running around 1 to 2 months. I'm talking downtown greater Boston, okay? It has swelled to 6.8 months worth of supply, just like that. I tried to upgrade my rental, and they're like, yeah, fat chance. You're not getting out of that price that you're locked into for the next year. So I got to eat the rental that I'm in, but it's fine. My kid's going to school. It is what it is. There's about 50% vacant. So what nobody wants to listen to or see is that's the reality of the moment. But when we go in there today, that is the harsh discussion we will have.
Yeah.
And it is played out by the math in his case. He's actually dropped it below assessed, and this is exactly what happens. As a market, and this is why I try to tell you all, understand the relationship of assessed values to market values. Everybody wants to blow me up. It means nothing. It means everything. You know nothing about statistics if you don't understand this, right? The assessed value is a measure of value that the government slaps on to justify the taxes they charge you. And they're supposed to approximate what a ready, willing, and able buyer would pay for the property. I understand California, of all the states, is different, and that's why you're nearly broke, right? Period. That's why you're nearly broke. So the idea is the assessed value chases market value. When markets are going up, the assessed value is about 18 months correcting behind it, coming up and up and up. And when it corrects down quickly, you have exactly what we're seeing here. I know it. I've seen the movie a few times. Been around this business for 21 years. I know that when I walk into a home and the assessed value is above it, we are in a correcting market. So we need to find out, which I don't have in this sheet, okay? This is why the seller qualifying questionnaire becomes critical. On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you? What are you hoping it's worth? When did you buy it? What did you pay? What did you put into it? That becomes critical for every one of these moments. I would take this appointment anyway for the educational moment that I will have with John and Autumn. It's worth every moment that I will drive from here, right when this ends, to walk in this home, to go get us physically connected. This is an educational moment. The wonderful upside would be the guy listens to me and we get it.
Okay,
Yeah, but you know, my point would be the wonderful thing would be the culmination of this. And it's a real go time. This is going to be a not easy discussion, but I want it.
Well, no one else is having it with
Nobody's having it with him, which is what I said I was waiting for in Boston.
him. And that's
It's
why
go
he's
time.
angry.
It's go time. Gail, that makes sense? Chris, that makes sense? Right? See, because Chris, in Lake Norman, the problem is it's so good because you have this strange phenomenon where you are affordable and people are afraid of natural disasters. We just found out from pandemics, they can't stand hurricanes, so they leave California. They can't stand Northeast prices and they can't stand unaffordability. So you have this perfect world where you've been fed. And this was like this in Newmarket, Ontario, when I was getting trained by Proctor, where people were leaving the city, going out to the suburbs for the first time. Farm country was being converted. So you must be aware that if you are in one of those unique circumstances, it's not always like that. So when you're making a proposition, you can get away with things sometimes in a good market, right? And it doesn't make you the best it can be. Like, well, I don't really need to go through all this stuff with them. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. Because inevitably, even in a white hot market, it's the same precipice that you're running up against. People begin to say, well, my neighbor got this, so I'm tacking on 10% because the market's just going up. They're making shit up, right? And so that's why in here, we need this Boston thing so we can show him.
Yeah.
You can show him. You go just like this today. See, the inventory is swollen to 6-7 months worth of inventory. See that? Yes, the lower interest rates are doing something to counteract that, but not well enough because you'd see it come back down to 2 months. So I will have that talking point right in front of me. In fact, there is a continued decrease in the average price per square foot, which is one of those perceptive numbers that most sellers want to talk about. Well, the price per square foot, yes, and that's also coming down off of a high around 1,200. It's almost down 20%, and it's ready to break through the 1,000 barrier. Okay, so we have downward trends. We even have a downward average price trend. We have a days on market trend that's 35, 42 days. It's still good. That's the hope. So now you sell them the hope. You say, look, it's still good. You want to come down and see what happens to me on the Cape? I could be 6 months. And the sale, the final sale to the list price, the last asking price, okay, is 98.6%. That's definitely down. That was running for years at 102, 101%. This is why your realtor doesn't he's not out in front of this curve. Now, you've had some price reductions, but he just wasn't out in front of him. Not here to hurt him. And no, it is not a marketing issue. It is a marketplace issue.
Okay.
Big time.
Okay.
I don't care how good somebody is at marketing.
Okay.
You have to stand on your head. You better be able to make a market. You know that communication stage?
Yeah.
So after it goes on MLS, the pictures are done, everything looks good, people come through the door or they don't. Same
Right,
thing, the
okay.
one that John lost, the lady's panicking because he didn't do a good enough job on his end. She's just crazy. He didn't do a good enough job explaining the money is made into conversation
Right.
because he doesn't know this well enough, period.
I sure know
You-
it well enough.
well, you kind of do. You're getting there.
Well,
but
I
it's,
mean, just in my corner.
it's this thing right here that's next for both of you.
Okay.
See how you guys just got the benefit of a sales presentation that's about to really happen up there. And I don't know what I can get out of this guy. He seems very amenable to sitting his butt down and listening.
Yes.
If he gives me audience, I'm going to go through exactly what I do. I hope for their education, he lets me go through every beat that I want. Now it's a condo, so the walkthrough and the talk about the condo will be minutes, right? But when you sit down, can we all sit down comfortably? And we will. He'll give us airtime, and I will take my time today so that there's extra dialogue for John and Autumn. Why? Because when it's not me and it's those two, it needs to be formulaically around this stuff. I don't cheat my stuff, right? That help, Chris, Gail?
Have Autumn record it, Danny.
What's that?
Have Autumn record the session with this dude today.
I don't like that. I get it. It's creepy though. I'd want permission. I wouldn't want to do that to somebody. Like, I don't mind the phone calls because they're innocuous. It's just you're trying to get a package out the door and there's a little bit, but to almost like voyeuristically sneak up on a guy. I mean, I bet someday she can get somebody to say, hey, would you mind if while Danny's telling you, I record your conversation with him? We can try to do that.
It'll be a particular client.
Correct.
a woman.
She'll know.
It'll be a woman.
She'll know. She'll know when she can get it, Chris. It's not a bad idea. And we'll set up my camera. We'll just do it and we can talk about it. Yeah. And she can say it's for training purposes.
Yeah, there
So-
you
You
go.
got one of those shirt pocket cams, Danny.
Yeah.
They would never even know.
But Chris, you know what's crazy? I do exactly what I just did. Like, she'll be able to attest to it or not. She'll say he's a liar or not, right?
You know what he's doing. You know exactly what he's doing because he keeps telling you what he's doing, and he doesn't ever vary from that.
I'm turning myself into a Rain Man that's afraid to cheat himself. Because when I cheat myself, I cheat the client. I do. I just cheat them of a full understanding. If I do nothing else but educate them today fully on what really is going down in the city of Boston, plus a systematic approach, I've done a good deed today. And that matters to me. And that's why my business has grown in the right direction post depression or recession, right? And digital age, because I've authentically really zeroed in on helping them first, Chris, right? So with the FSBO, it's the same thing. Throw out everything you've ever learned about NLP and trickster stuff. That takes energy and it borders on a lie and a bait and switch. If you just flat out say to the FSBO, hey, looks like a beautiful house. Why are you trying to sell it, right? Well, it's, I don't really like the tenants anymore. Yeah, well, I get you. I feel you, right? Tenants are tough. You just get into that natural flow with somebody where it's real, right? By the way, how's it going so far? You getting anybody? And to Heather's point, are they coming in with pre-qualification? You can educate him on it, but don't make him, well, you can't pre-qualify them without a realtor. That's bullshit. You can. Take 3 seconds. Go to a bank and get me a pre-qualification. Done. Okay? Now you're naked. Now you have nothing to offer because you tried to fear him into doing something, right? And that's what I don't want anybody on my watch to do. You don't make them afraid of anything. It's the opposite. You empower them. And when they feel empowered, they're magnetically attracted to you as being different. That's what she does on the phone. She empowers them. Well, look, you can take your name off this list. You go to Fast People Search, you can get off of this. She gives them the real deal.
Well, it was the honesty that he liked.
It's honesty.
Not hiding anything from anybody.
There's no sale
Yeah.
when there's honesty, right?
Right.
It's education. All right, good. What else? Anything else?
Danny, one more quick question before you go to those calls. How many expireds, daily, weekly, monthly, are not enough?
Loaded question to this extent that at the back end of this, okay, is that CRM that is capturing, yep, this guy said yes. It's time to call this guy back a week, and he said 2 months out. So in the beginning, it's always difficult where there's like not enough. But I'll tell you right now, there's enough until you show me that you're tracking the follow-up. There's enough, even if it's 3, if it's 2, a week or whatever, until you show yourself. Because if you hired a telemarketer, you would say, look, I don't really have a lot here, right? I don't have a lot here. So here's the deal. At the end of the day, I'm going to give you 4 hours this week. And that's going to happen for a month. Oh, good. Now you're starting to call them back. Let's give you 6 hours. And I would have evolved her up into where I like this. I'm comfortable with this 20 hours until I have any real obvious reason. When she and I start to look at the metrics every week, we look at the names every week, and she just can't do the job in those hours. One of 2 things we're going to hire a second one anyway, but one of 2 things will happen. We will expand her into other things, maybe like probates, FSBOs, or other geography. But until we get there, Chris, the discipline of the business, and she knows it, she's building a book of business. We're trying to evolve it.
And getting licensed.
Because it allows her to go deeper with these people.
Mhm.
Yeah? Cool?
Yeah, man, thanks. I didn't mean to take up 45 minutes. I appreciate
No, I
it.
think you brought me into a perfect sales thing. Here I am sitting here with my telemarketer, and it's a day where it's shadow day. It's come to school with Danny day, right? I mean, it's like, so you couldn't get us on a better day. This
Right.
is absolutely ideal. We are in the mode. I even put on a sweater because it's cold out.
And I put on lipstick
Yeah, she's doing her nails over here.
and doing my nails.
Yeah, she's getting
That's
all
right.
purdied up.
Yeah.
All right, next. I got Carol.
50 couple of Sam's calls.
Good. Paul, hang on, because I got Carol. Carol, you there?
Hi, yeah, I'm here.
How are you, darling?
I'm fine. I'm practicing my Midwestern manners.
I like I love it. All right, hang on. I've got a recording from you, my dear. You want to give me a little background first on this one?
Sure. It was just a cold call. It was one of the expired listings, and she seemed really open and kept talking, so I kept talking, and I just need some feedback on it.
Okay, good. So when I hear that, I'm going to look for the structure and to see how far you let the kite string out and how, you were able to bring her back in too, right? So we'll be looking for that. We're going to be looking,
Okay.
just so you know, you have context. We're looking for that structure to be maintained. I love that you let her talk. Let's just see if it went out too far.
Okay, this is my first call, remember?
Love it. No, I'm not going to, I'm going to go gently into the night. I'm going to practice. Don't forget, I married a Midwesterner. All right. I'm Minnesotan, so I can gear it down. Here we go.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi, this is Carol. I'm calling from Bradburt Real Estate. Is this Jeannie? Yes. Jeannie, I'm calling because I saw your beautiful home online and I noticed that it didn't sell. And I'd like to send you something that will help you sell it next time. May I do that?
Wow.
Sure.
Awesome.
Okay.
Great.
So what's the best address to send that to?
The only address is the house for sale because I'm living in it.
Ah, okay. Is that the Sunnyside Street?
Yes,
Okay. It's gorgeous. It is beautiful. Did you do all the work in it yourself?
I did. I
Fabulous.
gutted it.
No,
And
no, this is
rebuilt it.
fabulous. She's covering her face because she doesn't like
It is
Yeah,
amazing.
I know.
I have a kayak. I live on the southeast side of Madison. I have a kayak, so I put in there, down in that area. I wouldn't say frequently, but enough to enjoy the water. And I'm just looking at that home, thinking, "Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous."
That what is?
I said your home is just gorgeous.
Oh, I think the reason it didn't sell is the beginning of the driveway is kind of steep,
Okay.
and it's next to an easement for 4 houses on the other side of the street to use. And that's really the only negative comments I've received were about those 2 things. Well, I
Okay.
can't change either one of those 2 things.
Right. Right.
So I was just going to wait till next year and try again.
Okay. Well, what I can do is I can pull some information off of MLS and send you a list of 5 or 6 properties with pictures and details that actually sold in your price range while you were on the market, just so you can kind of get a list, kind of a list of what's been happening on the market.
Uh-huh.
And then I will also send you a copy of our 7-step listing plan that it gives really detailed information on, how to sell a house, which I'm sure you've already looked at, but it's a little bit more detailed than, the average seller gets, so you can kind of take a look at that.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, good luck to you.
Okay, good. So a lot of good stuff to work from here. It's
Natural.
yeah, the pace is wonderful. Like
Natural.
yeah, right. That natural Midwest strong. You're strong.
She could sell me anything, I'd buy it.
Yeah, Autumn loves you. So it was funny to watch you. It was funny to. She's in Wisconsin. Brad's just outside of Madison. So the pace is fabulous. Clearly articulating every thought. I like it a lot. You even do have a good understanding of what's in the package, even though she didn't ask what it was. I like the practice of you getting attached to it, right? And that the verbiage there will refine itself. What is the value to her? Well, let me show you. I hear you about what you think was wrong with yours. Let's see what the money bought while you were on. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get a few of these pictures and details from the multiple listing service. You'll be able to see what people said yes to when they passed on yours. Okay, so let me get that in the mail to you. Tighten it up and finish it. Okay, now the second beat, which is normal for us to get to next, the second beat is, hey, it looks like a beautiful house. Why are you trying to sell it in the first place? Because you had relationship here, easily. You easily had it.
Dig a little deeper,
Yeah.
that's all.
So your
more beat.
second beat is all about, wow, it looks like a beautiful place. Why were you trying to sell it in the first place? Now, because she was ready, she was already reading her mind aloud before, like she's just telling you what she think went wrong, right? So here's what I think went wrong the first time. Steep driveway, great. Those things sound surmountable. They don't sound unreasonable. So there's an easement. Where does the easement go? Right? Oh, okay. Interesting. I hear you. Well, what I'll do is let me take a look. When I send you this package, I'm going to send you 5 or 6 of the properties that sold that were in your price range that you were up against. Plus, I'll give you a copy of Brad's plan. It's the plan he customizes for his clients. There's the precursor of what's to come. Okay? I could give you a copy of the plan because you see it was very subtle there. You pulled away from the value of that. Well, I'm going to send you our plan, and you've probably seen something like this before, but ours is a little bit more detailed. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, this is the plan. I'm going to send you this plan. This is the exact one that Brad customizes for his clients, okay? This is exactly what he goes over. Now, of course, he hasn't seen your property, so he can't customize it yet. But you're going to get the exact wireframe he uses with his clients. Okay. And then that maybe is where, and you already know Brad. Like when I was, part of your onboarding process, you were like, Brad's great. He did this. He's that. Like you already have a feeling for his successfulness. So if she had challenged you, oh no, Brad's great. Brad's done my own property. Brad's been around a long time. He's got a long resume. You don't have to go too far into it, but you can sell Brad. But then that's where you hold that Brad piece because that's your second close. Your first close is get the package out. You did it beautifully, seamlessly, right? The next thing is when you get into this conversation about, looks like a beautiful house. Why are you trying to sell it in the first place? And now she really gets into this because what she gave you was this big meaty chunk that you could have dealt with that we lost now, right? It's like, well, I just thought I'd wait till next year. Well, geez, it looks like a beautiful house. Why are we trying to sell it at all, right? Well, I was hoping to do this. Well, look. You shouldn't lose hope. I mean, Brad's been able to sell things, anytime, any market. What I could do is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you still? Would you still be a 10? Right? Well, sure. Well, what I could do is have Brad bring the package to you. And like I said, this is the one he customizes. He could at least give you the tips. He could see the driveway for himself. He could see the easement for himself. And he could give his advice. And then you could decide whether it makes sense to put it back on sooner than later. See what I'm saying? I want your brain to just go logically through the narrative with her because your technique and your tactic is wonderful. Like Autumn said, If we started trying to give you advice on being a different version of you, that would be foolish advice. You are perfect. Like you, the way you talk, like you can't mess with natural. So leave that alone.
Yeah.
But tactically, the second beat must be learned, right? Looks like a wonderful house. Why are we trying to sell it in the first place, right? And because
And that's going to tie you closer to her as far as your conversation.
it personalizes it. That
style,
second
right.
beat is very personal. You're getting them to read their mind aloud, so which makes them more personally. Why are they uprooting themselves? Wow, that's a pretty big reason. Do you have a place to go to? That was another big discovery we have, because a lot of these people, their problem was they're not really clear on where they're going, so they sort of pulled back on the punch in selling in the first place. So learning that second beat, looks like a beautiful house. Why are you trying to sell it? Listen, wow, that's a pretty big reason. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say you are? I'm a 10. Do you have a place to go to? Now you close for Brad's insight. See, I'm going today to go add insight to the same information. We could have mailed info. We could have mailed it. But he's in a moment where he needs insight now.
Yeah.
And he was open to getting insight now. So on, I don't know, how many times had you called him before? The first call?
I left him a message.
Yeah.
On the first call, for some reason, and my mind's going blank right now, he called me back.
Okay, so it was her first call in a two-way, and she understood that insight was available to be given now. Because whatever he said, whatever his circumstances, it wasn't he was going to kick this can down the road.
Wait, I'm sorry, guys. I called and I did not leave a message because it was my very first call. He was brand new on my screen. I called and he saw my call and dialed my number and said, hi, blah, blah, blah. And I just took it right up from there and just pulled him right up into the air.
So he was closable for the insight, right? So was this gal. So when you call her back, get that package, close. Read that script on that second beat. I was thinking, looks like a beautiful house. Why are we trying to sell it in the first place? Go right back to there, right back.
And
because
then tell her what the close is.
Well, the close is Brad's insight.
The appointment. Carol.
I'm sorry, Brad is already working with her. I think one of the things he noticed is that she had really grossly overpriced the property compared to other lakefront properties, and he had to help me find the comps for it.
Okay, hold on. How is Brad already working with her?
I sent the package. I gave him the contact information, and he seemed interested enough to follow up with her. So working with her means I don't know where it's at, because he's got a number of.
So your job is to get that yourself the next time, because we don't want to give it to Brad and have him make that decision.
And
we want you
chance.
getting him in the house.
Is that what he's told you to do, Carol?
Okay, so I make the appointment first before and I don't ask him to follow up with her.
Absolutely, that's your job.
So only make appointments. Don't tell him until I have an appointment.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you need his insight on how to close it. Absolutely. In fact, Paul Cantu, who's going to be up next with some of Sam's calls, made the same mistake. I mean, it was like you can't. Brad's too busy. The whole reason for having you here is because he's too busy to do this. Now, that was fine. He picked up the phone and closed it. That's wonderful. But what we did was we didn't build you up by letting him do that. We need you to be able to close those appointments. I mean, look, Carol, anybody can get a yes to a package. You could get them all day long, but I don't want you to be a package, yes specialist.
Package camel.
Yeah,
package jockey.
that's not the highest and best use of your skill set. Your highest and best use is to build relationship, book an appointment, and get him in to a closable appointment. That's your highest and best use.
And that may take a second call, Carol.
Definitely. A lot of the times it takes a second call.
Yeah, most of the time. It's going to be a second follow-up call. So let's just touch on, after she says yes to the package, you're going to say to her, I'll give you a call back in a week or so and just make sure my package arrived. That second call is where you're going to say, I was talking to so-and-so, your broker, and, we're really wondering why it didn't sell. you got a chance, is there 20 minutes that we can have with you, or a half an hour that so-and-so can have with you, and let's discuss it? Yeah, I'm not saying it perfectly, but you get my point.
Yeah, that's helpful. Yeah.
So
Good.
it's a 2-call close. If someone's desperate, like this guy that called me back, I just ran right in and grabbed the bull by the horns as far as an appointment, because the guy's so frustrated and unhappy.
Yeah, that's your job too. If you sense you can get Brad in a house, you get Brad in a house on the first call.
Right. There's your job.
Cool.
Okay,
But the idea, Carol, the idea is it's a value ladder though. The first step is the package. The second step is Brad comes with the package and adds his insight, which is extremely valuable. You get me or Brad in your house to give you free advice. There are 2 freemiums. 1, pictures and details of properties that sold around you plus the plan. 2, Brad or Danny coming in to tell you about that plan as it relates to your house. But we can't do that without seeing your house.
Right.
Follow?
Okay.
You're not going to have any trouble at all, Carol.
Yeah, Carol,
Thank you. That's sweet.
the way you handle that first piece is, this is going to be a no-brainer for you. You're very engaging.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Paul, where did you send those calls to?
Your main email with Danny Griffin at Griffin Realty, or the main one.
Well, there's 3 of them, so I don't know what that means.
Okay, let me look quick.
Yeah, because I don't. The reason I'm asking is I just don't see it right in front of me.
To Danny.Griffin@realtycastwebsites.com. That's not even the one I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
That's
It's all good. That's the website company. I like the way you think. I like the way you're thinking. You better get signed up, or my hitman from Belgium's coming.
I gotta call that guy.
Yeah, call him, or he's gonna send you some poison Belgian chocolate.
All right.
All right, there we go.
What a nightmare.
She said one was the bad call, and one was one that she sent me on a $2.6 million listing appointment this week. So I don't know
Okay.
which one.
Yep. Here we go. Because you're gonna close the show today with these 2.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. Is this Mr. Chung?
Yeah, who is this?
Hi, this is Sam. I'm calling from Cantu Group Real Estate. I'm calling because we saw your beautiful home online, and we noticed it didn't sell. So we wanted to mail you something that will help you sell it the next time. May I do that?
Yeah, mail to me. Okay.
Okay. Is the best mailing address 3698 72nd Place, Southeast Mercy Island?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And it looks like a great property. Why were you trying to sell it?
Oh, it's too big for me right now because of all the kids gone, and it's too big for 2 people. So
Oh,
we
it's
have
too big for
another
2 people.
home. Yeah, we have another home. So yeah, just try to sell it
Okay.
up.
And is it vacant at the moment?
Yep.
Okay. Well, if you'd like, I can have my managing broker, his name is Paul Cantu, go over to the property and give you the package in person. He can also give you his insights on today's market, and it's free and no obligation.
Good.
Would you have any time this week or weekend just for him to give you a price and take a look at the property?
Yeah, what about tomorrow if you have time?
Okay. All right. This is excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a 10.
Yeah.
This is a 10.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Adam.
Yeah.
That's what's up,
Bravo.
people.
Yeah. It's a that's a 10. I mean, it's
And
not.
that's what we need to be listening for.
And this is what evolution of practice sounds like. It's just she stays to the yellow brick system. She hears what he's saying finally. She's having a 2-way conversation with him about it. She finds out that it's not, she hears that it's vacant. She closes quickly. Carol, are you still with me there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so that was an example of a close.
Okay.
I mean, she just closes. She hears that it's vacant, and that Paul can come over and add his insights. He can bring she's learned the value ladder, and she does it flawlessly. And this is all done in 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, you
How many of
can't,
those can you do in
you-
one day?
you really can't do better than that right there.
And that's what your goal is as a telemarketer, is that phone call.
You got it. Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're
There you
welcome.
are. See, but Sam, but that's the mature version of you. Okay. I want you to listen to your voice. It's not this phony lower voice that you were making up. It's not the high pitched young lady. That is the woman.
Businesswoman.
That is all business
Yep.
in a pleasant way that you should. I want you to keep that call, and I want you to listen to that before you make your calls, so that you reiterate to yourself what the mature version of you sounds like. That's it. It's a 10. And I'm happy for you, because you worked your hardest at this, and it hasn't been easy. There's been frustrating moments, but you can't do better than that.
No.
You can't. That's perfection.
Thank you.
And I don't say that too often, but that's pretty close to it. All right. Now you gave me one that you didn't like. Is that right?
The other one sucks. Yeah.
All right.
I haven't got any people that want to, I'm doing expired, so I know they want to sell. But when they're like, oh, but I don't want to sell because I don't know where to go. And I'm like, what do I say?
Good. Well, good. Well,
that's why we
good.
talk
I don't
about
know that
rebuttals.
objection.
Yeah, good. This is perfect. See,
phone call.
the other guy played tennis with you, so it was easy. So now let's go to one that requires that, where we get out into those branches where there are circumstances that your experience just doesn't get you there yet.
Right.
Okay. So let's see. Let's see what happens.
Hello.
Hello? Hello? Hi, is this Mr. Yipsu?
Yes. Who's this?
Hi, this is Sam. I'm calling from Cantu Group Real Estate. I'm calling because we saw your beautiful home online, and we noticed it didn't sell. So we wanted to mail you something that will help you sell it the next time. May I do that?
Actually, right now we took it off the market because we weren't really showing houses, and we weren't ready to move. So that's why we took it out.
Be ready.
But
I understand. And why did you want to sell it initially?
we actually saw a house that we were interested in, and then we saw that it was pending already. So, and the seller was not actually budging with the contingency. So, he actually didn't take our offer, so we took it off. And I haven't seen anything.
Oh, okay. Well, if you'd like, we can send you some.
Oh, see, when you get nervous, that's what you do, right? He's still talking. He's giving you more. So you jumped him. This is like a mugging. You just mugged him. Like you were getting along, and then you clubbed him right over the forehead, right? So that's that's nerves. Because what's happening is your inexperience is getting you out to a spot where you're not comfortable. So when you're not comfortable in the future, don't talk.
Okay.
Right.
Don't talk.
Just wait for them to stop.
Yes. Listen.
Okay.
And see if something becomes familiar. See, the more unfamiliar the story becomes to you, the more nervous, and you jump him. Let him talk. So, because it's going beautifully up to this point, 1 minute and 7 seconds, it's going beautifully. I love that you stuck to it again. Why were you trying to sell it? Well, we saw a house and we tried, and this is therapy. You're his therapist. He's telling you what happened. And it's so sad, this story, right?
Right.
Hang on.
Go ahead.
Some properties. What type of a home are you looking for?
We're looking for a 4-bedroom.
Good
home
recovery.
with at least 2 bathrooms, with a yard somewhere in a non-HOA area.
No HOA? Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have any areas in play? Issaquah? Okay, yeah. And do you have a price range?
We are looking for something below 900.
Below 900. Okay. And what's the best email for me to send those properties to?
You can send it to JOR.
I love this.
.Y as in Yemen, IP.
You're closing them for
@gmail.com.
MLS updates.
That's all I know how to do. But,
Okay,
like,
so
I want
it's
appointments.
No.
JORGE.YIP@gmail.com.
You have to solve his problem before the appointment.
All right, perfect. Okay, so you would have to find a home to sell your property, correct?
I would have to see if there's anything out there that's
Brilliant.
worth,
This is what we
switching
just
over
trained
to
on.
before I decide to sell my home. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So I'll send you over some properties. Hopefully you see something that you like. And if anything, can I send you our selling book? Well, we can send you our buying book as well.
All right, see, you get whacked out here. He already got permission. You already got permission to send this. But this is what we trained on. See, most people are expired because somebody didn't help them find the house that they were going to. Where are you going to? I love this. You're making a presumptive close. You're not even asking. You're like, well, duh, I'll help you. What are you looking for? Boom, boom, boom. And you set them up in the MLS. Okay? And now the next thing that you could do is say, look, I heard what you want. I'm going to send you some properties that sold in this area. I'm going to tell Paul about the situation, see what he can do to help you find a property, right?
Right.
And I'll slip in a copy of Paul's buyer plan too. This is really close to good.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
well,
I
you
wasn't
well,
sure,
well
'cause I
stop.
didn't get that.
Well, but nobody told you that the only success was an appointment. Nobody told you that. Getting a package out the door and establishing a relationship is good, right? Now, the upsell is the same upsell, Paul's value. You know, I'm going to mention this to Paul Cantu, the managing broker here. Let me tell him what I'm going to send you. I'll also throw in some solds, but I'll get his opinion, and he might want to call you and ask you a few more questions. In the meantime, let me get that package out to you. Bang, see you later. Now, this is one where you go to Paul, because closing a buyer is a little different than closing somebody for a listing. Closing a buyer could be a phone call with Paul. See, with Brad, I like that Brad jumped in there because he knows he's closing a gap. Carol's inexperienced. He gets, she's semi-successful halfway through. He jumps in, he grabs it, he closes it. No problem. But ultimately, we're trying to evolve you all to be the full deal. So you can take it as far as possible, then hand off what is essentially a layup. This is a good call for you. And the irony is you don't think it is, because you just don't quite have a feeling for, you rooted out the problem. Where am I going? So you shifted the focus to that perfectly. You're not selling anything. There's no listing appointment until somebody closes them on the front. Bravo, Sam. I am super proud of you today. This is exact, and I hope everybody that's been on these calls for a while has watched your evolution to go into this. And you're all of you are too hard on yourselves, but you're too hard on yourself. This is a successful call. And the first one's a 10. First one's a 10. Paul.
Yeah, Danny.
This is excellent work.
Thanks for the feedback. I hadn't listened to either call.
It's excellent. It is excellent work. She has come a very long way in a very short period of time. I need more of these so that we just keep, now she's already evolved into the coaching where value expression on the buy side and your value on the buy side. You need to sit with her after this call and talk about what you really do for a buyer when you pick up the phone next, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely have. Thank you.
Yep, good. All right, everybody, I'll take one last round of questions and Autumn and I have to hit the road. So one last round.
Danny.
Yep.
Hey, Danny, I got a question for you. So on B2
Yeah.
of the expired,
Yes.
it says here on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you to sell your property?
Yeah.
And let's say they come back with anything but a 10. So it's like, hey, I'm an 8 right now. So like, what would a response be? Would it be like, hey,
Why-
what would make you a 10?
why
Is
so-
it
nope.
this or that?
Nope. Why so low? Why not a 10?
Okay, so you just why not? And
Yes,
that's fine.
because the idea, Eli, is if you're not a 10, there's something in the way. And if you can tell me what's in the way. See, the people that are most successful selling their property are at a 10. They're really, really wanting to go. It's time. They've made that decision. That's the best avatar. But we make a lot of money in that less than 10 area because we're problem solvers, right? Of course, every one of us would love a 10, a 10, a 10, and they're going to listen to everything we say. But the money is made in that small area, right? Make sense?
So So you would handle that just by so what would make you a 10?
Not even that. How come you're not a 10?
There you go.
How come you're not a 10? What's in the way? What's in the way of you being a 10? Because then you say, Eli, in your mind, you now say, in my experience as a listing agent, when people go to list their property, it's best to be at a 10. So if I can help you become a 10, tell me now while you have me, right? Let me help you. Let me be the guy that even before you list with me, or let me over. Let me see if I can help. Follow? Yeah, good. That's an excellent question because it's a really stupid, simple thing we're asking. And that gets them to express. That question is almost magical because it's actually getting them finally to ask themselves how motivated they are and give an answer. And fear typically, because they don't know, like that guy, he's not a 10, but she knows why. He doesn't know where he's going. He took a shot at it. He's trying to just take a shot, sell, take a shot, sell. You don't do it that way. You get going on the hunt. You get going on your property. He probably doesn't even know that Paul could list the property and it's contingent for any buyer on the guy finding where he's going and having a simultaneous closing. He doesn't even know that yet. And that's Cantu's value added if he can get to talk to the guy on the buy side. Hey, did you know, we can get them both going if that's interesting to you, where, we can just make a contingent. You're not moving unless it's a simultaneous close or something you find. That guy doesn't know that. But Cantu's insight could bring a solution. Now the guy in the back end maybe goes, well, shoot, if you can do that, I'm a 10. Let's go. See what I mean? That's an example off of today's calls. Excellent question, Eli.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, what else? Any other questions like that? Good stuff. Okay, hearing none. Bravo. That was very good, ladies. Carol and Clever, thank you for bringing that whole thing in the beginning because here we are live. So excellent call. You got a little outside sales prep today and a couple of a rookie who's doing great in the Midwest and somebody out West who has evolved dramatically.
And steadily.
Dramatically and steadily.
Yeah.
And every single week, those two are here on this call. And
job,
that's what
Sam.
happens, right?
Good job,
Thank you.
Sam.
Yeah, bravo,
You're
Sam.
welcome.
Hey, talking about that, what he said about the scale, right?
Yeah.
So I get people that are like, why do you want to sell? Oh, I want to downsize. Okay. From a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you to sell? Well, I'm like a 6. And I'm like, well, why a 6, right?
Yeah.
And they go, well, I'm not in a rush to sell. I just want a good deal.
What's your timeline?
Okay. How excited are you to downsize? Like if the right downsize house was in front of you, do you become a 10?
Ooh, that's good.
Oh, okay.
See,
But
Yeah,
write that down. Write that
this
down,
is the
Sam.
same problem, Sam. We're finding that a lot of these expireds are expired because they don't know where they're going and nobody's helping them solve that. Well, how far are you into looking for your downsized property? Have you gone out to see any? Do you know what the money's buying? Has anybody done the math with you? See, nobody's helping with all of that. So it's exactly what Eli just asked for you. Okay? Well, have you looked at anything to downsize to? Have you seen anything that you would have bought? Right? Because you need help finding your downsize first. That's probably why you're a 6. Would you agree? See what I mean? You can lead the witness to the buy side.
There you go.
Right. Yeah, I just hate that people are like, well, I just need a good offer. What is a good offer, you know?
No, they need a plan.
Right. That's what
They don't need a
she's
offer.
right. They don't need an offer.
No, they need a plan.
They need a plan to get from here to there. Where are you going is probably the biggest discovery we've made in this group over the last 90 days. Where are you going and how far along are you? I have a client right now driving me bananas. I think he's close to blowing up his own deal. He's going across the street, Covery. He's going across the street and he wasn't prepared with a certificate of occupancy. And now he's dinging around and it's like incredible. And I had no idea that I would be up against this because I said, well, what do you have to do to get a certificate? Well, this. The list was this small. But you don't know until you get them moving. And I was moving them all along. Ed, you got to clean out your basement. You got to clean out your shed. You got to get rid of stuff. I'm here to sell it, Ed. I'm not here to play around. Right?
Right.
Same thing with the other Ed today, too. Hey, look at guys. We got to get this deal done. Right? We're signing this P&S. His wife was there. I turned around. I came back. Look, what's the issue? Well, it's no problem. We're going to give a little commission discount here to contribute to the septic system, but he's got to sign the P&S. Have you ever thought about a 1031 tax exchange? I was like, boom, 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 solutions, right? But it's all about where you're going. What's going to happen? I'm finding that to be the biggest problem to solve. And the more of those we can solve, like I want Autumn to know that. Because on the phone, I want you to know it, because on the phone, hey, we can help you first with where you're going because you need help with that. You're not going to get going on this thing until you know where you're going. You got to get squared up on that. Now you're taking control and you're leading them to say, See, that's why she said a plan. Our plan is to square you away where you're going first.
Right, exactly.
Not to rush you out of your house. How can you rush out of a house? How can you be a 10 if you don't even know where you're going? Right? You can't.
Right.
You can't. So you should be excited when you get that. You know, well, when it just, okay, everybody wants a good offer, but I got a better question for you. Where are you going? You want to sell your house. Where are you going? Before you worry about what a good offer is, where are you going? And see, a lot of people think they want a good offer and they make up a number because they perceive that's what they need to go where they're going. See what I'm saying? They're making the whole thing up. That's why they're stuck with the listing. Because they're making the whole thing up in their head. Nobody has ever gone and done a net sheet. Got it?
Got it.
Okay, cool. All right, I got to call it. We're on the road. Peace. Bye, everybody.
Good luck.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.